Good, you?
Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus show. It's the Dawg and Gus show.
Hey, dog, your beard's looking flicking great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart.
Welcome to the Dawg and Gus show, now on Feel It Radio.
Well, thank you for remembering that, dog.
Shut up.
He remembers every time, but
Almost every time. I forgot once, I think.
that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I remind you about it.
Yes, you did. Of course you did. Like a wife.
Well, I'm your work wife,
Yes, you are.
work husband.
Rick hubby.
Yeah.
My PP.
Yeah. Oh, I hate when you call me that.
He hates that, by the way.
The PP. Yeah, I don't like that.
He's my podcast partner, my PP.
Yeah, PP. Get it? Got it.
Never to be said again.
So, what do we got going on today, Doug?
Well, we got this young man here. He's very excited to be here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. This is Rohan.
Rohan.
From Resist the Throne.
What a cool name.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I came up with that name in 2020 when I started Resist the Throne. It was my solo project at the time. It was largely a political name, actually. It was kind of resisting against certain divisive political figures that I wasn't very happy with at the time, who won't be named. But yeah, it was mainly a political statement about that. It's grown though to mean more than just politics and to resist against the struggles that people face in their lives as well, like mental health struggles and other. So yeah, that's what it's about mainly.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Nice timing. It's Men's Mental Health Month.
Yes, it
month,
is. Yeah.
As well as Pride Month. So there's a
And-
lot of mental health things that are going on.
And ALS.
ALS is ALS Awareness Month, which is a big one for Dog.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about politically, but we won't get into that one. No,
That type of
no,
talk,
we do leave politics outside of this this room. But thank you. That's a great. It's a cool name. It sounds very punk rock, like the way that you're anti-establishment and like maybe you're not, but you know what I mean. Like it sort of was like rising against what was coming our way at that time, and of course after COVID hit and seeing how all that went. How did you handle that? Like, did you just get into writing music? Did you find an outlet for all those times where we were kind of stuck at home and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in grade 11 when it kind of hit. So like school got moved virtually and everything. But the first term of school that was virtual, they weren't really, no one was really prepared, understandably so. So we weren't really learning much. So I kind of taught myself how to do video editing, how to do mixing, and I spent a lot of time doing music and on Resist the Throne stuff actually. And that's where the goal for Resist the Throne actually came into place. I noticed there were a lot of people who were struggling with their mental health at the time, and so all 4 of the songs that are currently released are written about that during that time, because of the pandemic kind of thing. So yeah, absolutely.
That was your outlet.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, good for you. I mean, in Dog, you'll get your turn, I promise. Every time. But that honestly, I actually talked to Dog about this as well. And, the pandemic was challenging for everyone. Of course, some people lost people, of course. But as a young man, or a young person going to high school in your formidable years, really, you'll find this when you're older, that high school is the best time of your life. It was for me. There's going to be more great times in your life. But I found that was when you kind of still had momentum and your mom was driving you places. And you had best of both worlds. You were growing up, but you also still had some ties to being young, and to lose that couple of years where you were kind of doing online education and not seeing your friends as much as you'd like to, it's super hard, man. That would be super challenging for me. I know that because I'm very much an extrovert. I like to be introverted when I'm alone at home and, a quiet time and all that. But it is, I think it'd be really challenging for me. So anyways, it was just more of a statement than a question.
And not so much for me.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously, it wasn't like, it was bad, yes, but I was fine.
Yeah, because you stayed. Well, I mean, you like your space at home alone. So
Yeah, and then I did some podcasting when I was alone.
Yeah.
I just started one on my own. But so you wrote all the songs yourself then?
Yeah. So all the ones that are out right now, I did all the instruments on them as well, recorded. The drums were kind of programmed on the computer because I'm not a very good drummer.
Fair enough.
I learned a bit during the pandemic actually, but I decided to stick to guitar and singing in the end.
Yeah,
But-
a little easier when you're going on stage just to bring two other guys up with you and just say, okay, I'll do this, you guys do the rest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very
For
good.
sure.
Did you know? I'm going to say it because Rohan has the distinction of being the very first person to wear our merch on stage. I got a picture.
Oh yes. Okay.
I got a picture from Johnny at the Overflow show when you were there with Chamie Sari.
Yeah.
And he's like, because I was DJing a gig and I got there later. I wanted to see your guys' show, but I couldn't. And then Johnny sends me this picture and it's you. And I'm like, how cool is that? So yeah, you're number one in my books right now.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody else has got shirts. You're not wearing them on stage. I tease.
It's an awesome shirt.
Didn't Johnny wear one though?
But he didn't wear it on stage.
Ah.
We got a picture taken before he performed. He always goes on with a nice collared shirt and his hat.
Here we
He's
go.
He's got a style, right?
He's Irish.
He's Irish. And that's all we say about that.
Do you have a your stage? Do you find that you're more at home, more yourself when you're on stage, or do you find like when you're out and about? Like, do you have like an alter ego basically when you're on the stage?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely. Like when I'm not on the stage, I'm definitely more introverted, and that wears off about maybe 5 seconds after stepping on the stage. There's about 5 seconds of nerves, and then I'm completely into it. Like it's definitely when I'm the happiest, and when I feel the most energy, especially when the crowd is feeling that energy as well. It makes it like such a really fun time. So yeah definitely.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I think that's everybody needs an outlet, right? So I'm glad you found yours at such a tender age.
Yeah. It's funny because we say that, like you meet Rohan, he's very, very soft spoken, very mild mannered, and it's the same thing with Cyrus from Finely Tuned Elephant. Like I went to see them, and he's just like a regular dude, and he gets on stage with his bass, and it's like, what the hell happened here? He's bouncing around, he's running down out the front door of the place. He's like, it's interesting to see, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Your other two band members now are equivalent in age. You guys are around the same age.
Yeah, so there's actually 3 now. We just got a new drummer like less than a month ago actually.
Okay.
So
all right, so it's 4 of you now.
yeah, 4 of us. So the other guitarist who joined most recently, like after me, he's 19 now, recently 19. Our bassist is 21, okay. And then our drummer is 18, almost 19.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool,
They're
right?
going to be a big band when they're, like they're just in those
Are you kidding
like
me?
young
Like the
years.
level that they're at right now, right? And they're like
When they add them all
teens.
together, they're your age.
Yeah, pretty much. That's hurtful.
That's very nice.
And
But
not very good math, by the way.
No, I know. I just like to be a jerk. No, but that's that was just for fun, man. But no, I love that you guys have found each other and you got your band, and I love the name. Is everybody all for the name too?
Yeah. We all they all kind of agree with. We have that discussion whenever somebody new is joining the band to make sure we're on the same page about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in our songs, and everyone was cool with that.
That's good. Yeah.
It's good to have like you all going in the same direction, right? As opposed to one guy going, "No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that."
Well, it's certainly important to have your own opinions and everything. But I think if you're working as a cohesive unit, you want to be able to have a discussion with somebody about lyrics or about the sound or whatever, and just sort of be on the same page, if that makes sense, right?
No, and
everybody's welcome to their opinions about every matter. It's just it is a cool thing to be on the same page, like about what your goal is and what you want to see out of the band, right?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And that's like, I act as if we talk about so many political things, but that's mainly it. It's just like about the division, right? And about being able to have conversations with each other and be able to be on the same page, even if you disagree with certain things.
Of course.
Right? So,
yeah.
It's funny because you see that meme on Facebook, right? Like, I think it's Morgan Freeman. Just because I disagree with your opinion doesn't mean I hate you. You know what I mean? It's like, I can disagree with you, and we can still be friends. It's like, I'm not going to agree with everything that Gus says, and he certainly doesn't agree with everything I say.
I think it's super important, actually, to have diverse opinions,
we need it.
as long as they're inclusive and have the right feeling behind them. But you should be questioned, and somebody should be curious when they're asking you questions. Like, I think that shows intelligence, and it also shows interest in the other person, because even if, like you have, like Dawg was saying, if you have a difference of opinion on a certain item or it's like, I don't love all 80s music like Dawg loves. We're going to ask you that question eventually. You're born in the friggin' 2000s. So, but it is interesting to definitely have a nice conversation about something that, you're not supposed to agree on everything. And if it does, it's boring. You want to have a little bit of a back and forth and have a commonality and maybe learn something, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, that's a tough question. Like, I think somewhere in Europe. I love the architecture in Europe.
Gold.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that kind of like older style of architecture. So I'd probably say somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly where it would be, but just somewhere with nice older architecture. But realistically, maybe Toronto. I'm thinking of, after I'm done university, moving to somewhere in the GTA afterwards.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be good for your artistic career for sure.
Yeah, lots of places to play there for sure.
Yeah, we'll miss you.
Let us know when you play the Elmo Combo. We'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I need to get there. Now, I looked at your Instagram page, and it said a couple of the influences are Judas Priest.
Yeah,
And the Raven Age, which I listened to on the way here because I didn't know who the hell they were.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I don't know them well either. I know Judas Priest quite well, but I don't know.
So the Raven Age, their guitarist, I believe it is their guitarist is the son of Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. So you can definitely hear some of that influence in some of their music. But I really like their music because it's got a dark but melodic sound to it. So it's heavy but like very melodic and drop tuned. So yeah, I really like those guys.
Cool.
Yeah. And Judas Priest, where did that come from?
Judas Priest was one of my first influences. Actually, the first CD I ever bought was a Judas Priest one.
Okay. And so what I'm asking here is, like, who got you onto that?
You
You just see a video or hear a song and go, hey, those guys are pretty cool, and then just go
You got another thing coming. Sorry.
that was one of the first songs I heard off the album. I don't actually remember how I first just started. I think it might have been just off a Spotify metal playlist.
That's fine, because we're always curious about where we get our our likes for music and stuff. Like, if you heard it somewhere playing at a party, hey, that's a cool song. You kind of sound hound it or whatever and you get it. Oh, okay, and then you kind of follow that stuff. That's why I was just curious about that.
I always find that we just got aged too, by the way, because he heard it on a metal playlist. That's where he learned, and we're like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, I had cassettes, bro. And he had vinyl, so now I have vinyl too. But yeah, it's funny how that all comes back. It's all cyclical. It's interesting when you hear, like, I heard it on a Spotify playlist, and you're 20 years old. It's like, okay,
but it's
fair enough.
But it's fun though.
No, it is.
That
No, it is.
Generations are not just getting into what's being played now, like the stuff that's out there now. They're kind of reaching back. Like Priest is a great one to reach back to. Zeppelin, it's nice to see that that's still.
Well, just imagine hearing Led Zeppelin for the first time.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Like, because it is timeless. Like the thing with hearing these bands that you're talking about, and also one I'll have to listen to after. But hearing Led Zeppelin as a musician and hearing how tight it was, like I just find that the sound is so incredible. Like the drums just seems like he's just kicking the shit out of the drums, and he's like, you watch Jimmy Page play guitar, and he's like just so in the zone. And then, of course, one of the greatest lyricists of all time too. And then you got to think about John Paul Jones. He's pretty. He keeps it all together. I just think of in my head. I'm like, man, you just heard Led Zeppelin for the first time, and it's like, must have been such a thrill, because even though you may not have known who they were at the time, I'm sure you've heard about them. People talk about them. But then you hear them for the first time. To me, I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan, so I just find that that's such a cool thing when, someone young is interested in that stuff. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree that music is timeless for sure. Like, I remember the first time listening to a lot of like the classic rock and stuff. It's like definitely blows your mind.
For sure. And to think they don't have all the gadgets and such that you guys. You obviously still have to know how to play the instrument, but there are ways of manipulating the sound that make it a little easier now than then, right? Like they had to actually, play the guitar with a bow, like, some random stuff. But yeah, no, it's not downplaying what you guys can do. Also, it's so interesting to me how creative they were and how much time they must have spent on it, and how much time you spent on your music. I mean, it's something you must love, because you get very little like monetary from it, but you really enjoyed putting it out, right?
Yeah. I spend like most of my time on music. So like I'm currently in school for music at Carleton in a performance program. So that's like most of my time. And like one of the classes there, we literally get private guitar lessons and get to play like in front of people, original music or covers, whatever you want, as part of kind of that class.
So good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful to be in that program. So that's like part of my time. I also have a part-time job as like a guitar and bass teacher. So I do that like on top of school. I do it just once a week because I don't have too much time right now to be doing that. And then I'm also doing like the band stuff on top of that. So I do spend like most of my time on music. I love doing it. So yeah, I spend as much time as I can.
Do what you love, man. And your life's too short. Trust me. The best thing is with that is, do you know notes? Like, can you read music? Are you musically trained that way?
I can now, thanks to the university.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was mostly tabs before and stuff like that, or just ear?
Learning by ear, yeah.
Okay.
Tabs too, but my preferred method is learning by ear for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah. See, I don't have that skill. I have to read the tabs when I'm playing. So
I don't have any of those skills.
We won't hold it against you, man.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, if you could sit down for dinner with 3 people, living or dead, who would it be?
Wow.
Oh, that's a really tough one.
Whimsy.
I'm having to think hard about that one. Kirk Hammett for sure would be number one. He was my biggest influence as a guitarist and as a musician for sure. So it's got to be Kirk. Jimi Hendrix would be another, because you said living or dead. So
yep, I did.
Absolutely.
I absolutely did.
Jimi Hendrix.
Pretty good guitarist.
Yeah, just pretty. Yeah.
So.
And third, I'd say Eddie Van Halen. It's between him or
all guitarists, eh?
Yeah, actually, it would be all guitarists for sure. No, I'd say it would be him. Actually, Eddie Van Halen for sure.
I think Eddie would be very clinical of how he explains his sound. Wouldn't you think? I don't know. Like, do you think he would just sort of be like, you just do this, you just do that, but he would sort of break it down a bit? I don't know.
I think so, and I've seen some videos of him playing and talking, and yeah, it's like that. He'll say something and then he'll just play a lick, and you'll be like, "Whoa, that's crazy."
He was wildly good. Same with Jimmy, like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, the cool thing to talk about Jimmy is to play a right-handed guitar backwards, so you could play it left-handed. Is just something you'd never think about. I guess they just didn't make left-handed guitars back then. Or maybe he couldn't afford
it
one.
might have been
anyway,
that.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's a few people who were left-handed that were playing guitar at the time, but yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the majesty of him too, right? Like, those are great, solid choices.
Well, maybe
I asked that question.
Well, maybe that's where the acid and stuff came in.
I just got to play, man. Yeah. That would be his response.
I'm gonna flip it upside down.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I mean, the man burnt a guitar on stage.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
classical. Love that guy.
True,
yeah. Like if you say you started a book and like you're starting a book of your life, where would you like to see yourself, say in 10 years from now, as far as musically or maybe even in life?
My goal is to be touring full time at that point. That's my end goal as a musician, is to be able to write, record, release, and tour full time. So yeah, I'd still want to be with Resist the Throne. I've got a second band as well that's about to start putting out some stuff as well. But yeah, that's my end goal, I'd say.
Nice.
So you're just giving up on sleep, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, no need for sleep.
I don't need
Overrated.
Sleep till Brooklyn. Oh.
Well, I'm a big Beastie Boys fan, so I like that reference.
Out there.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, honestly, bro, just keep pushing for it, because if you believe it, and start writing it down too, like manifesting it. I think that you should
Throwing it out there in the universe.
Yeah, put it up. Yeah, put it up out there.
Do that for sure.
Yeah, you should start journaling your day to day, and then you'll go back when you're older and be like, man, look at what I was writing, and then
Or you'll find some inspiration for a song in there too.
correct. Yeah, you'll always, if you keep writing even just your daily stuff that happens, I think that you could like go back to it and take something from it for sure. It's if I could give you any advice as an older person now, is I wish I wrote down a lot of what I did and like what my aspirations were and all that, and I do it now, and everything seems to be coming my way. So
That's awesome. Yeah,
there you go. A little tidbit for you.
It's funny you say that. I actually started doing something similar to that like a couple of weeks ago, just writing down like you said, like day-to-day stuff, like what you're doing, what my goals are for the day and stuff. And
good for you.
Yeah.
He's way ahead of the curve, man. We don't need to talk to him anymore.
I know.
We're good.
I know. We might learn something. Maybe you could ask us some questions. What do you think the world's going to look like in 10 years or 20 years?
I honestly don't know. I hope we'll have figured out a lot of the issues that we're facing right now, like climate change, for example, and instability. I'm not too sure. I think that things are going to get a little bit worse before they get better, for sure. And I don't think that a lot of our issues are going to be solved in the next 5 or 10 years, but I would hope that in the end we persevere, pull through, and
we always do, Ben.
Yeah,
I think you're right, and it's cyclical, right? Like if you think 80 years ago, it was World War II, right? And it couldn't be it couldn't be much worse than that, where there was literally a war. Everybody was worried about being taken over by a fascist regime, and then as we overcame that, the world became a better place. Everybody was in love, and there was lots of kids being born, and all the good things that come from peace, right? And then as time went on and people started creating, some of the creations were affecting things that they didn't even know about yet, and then eventually it's cyclical. So now we're 80 years later. They say every 80 years there's a different thing. So if you go back in history, you'll see what I mean. It's pretty interesting. Somebody pointed it out to me once, and they said like every 80 years. So I think we're at the end of that 80 years where we're going to see the worst things now and then persevere and come out of it. That's what I think. And I have young kids, so I have to know that the next 20 years are going to be okay. So
right, yeah.
So good guys like you, young people that are aware of what's going on, is very important. And especially somebody who has aspirations, because a lot of people can be lazy or not lazy. So that's
nice.
Yeah. Well, from what I get from you, if you're going to take the bus all the way out here, yeah, I think we got a little deep there, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him, what are your thoughts on the music scene here in Ottawa? We've been talking a lot about that lately.
I love it. I think it's really amazing. Everyone that I've met, like all the other bands, other artists, have been super supportive. Yeah. It's really great. Yeah, I've made a lot of really, really great friends, not just from performers, but from people in the audience as well who like to come out to shows, and it's really great, really supportive place.
Yeah, that's what we're finding now too. I go out to a show, and I end up there with this band and these guys, and it's like they're not even playing, but here they are to support the band, right? And then the band that's playing, the next time that they play, they're there.
That's cool.
It's great. It's great to see.
Well, even like Rohan came to the CD release party for Sunday Riot Club, and then
great show.
Yeah, that's where you got your shirt. And then I've got more stuff to give you by the end of the show anyway. But it's interesting, that it's such a community, and even seeing the video of like them presenting Super Kyle, and you were there with a video, like a nice It looked like an acrylic version of him being
It was-
lifted
yeah,
up.
I'm
Laura
not sure
Collins
what it-
took the picture, I think.
Yeah,
And yeah,
she took both.
yeah. But it was very cool. So they presented him with a Super Kyle with like this.
I saw that on Instagram. Yeah, no, that's really awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
it was so cool.
And it was like they both had the same thought at the same time. Like Alexander from Sunday Riot Club and Lauren from Winter.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why don't we blow these up and give them to Kyle? They both had the same idea, so they both came with picture, and Kyle was just like emotional and overwhelmed. Even JP got a little emotional. Because they're like, listen, this is what we love about this. It's like, you guys come to this. Like, Kyle's pretty much at every other show he can get to. When he's not working, he's there. The rest of the road trip crew, they're always supporting these bands, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, you're up on stage looking down, familiar face. Oh, there's Kyle.
Exactly,
There's so-and-so,
yeah.
there's so-and-so. This is awesome.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And yeah, Kyle's really awesome. He's been very supportive to myself and the rest of the band and the rest of the road trip crew, like you mentioned as well.
Yes.
Like really awesome people. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much fun to watch them. I kind of stand in the back because I don't want to get into any kind of pushing and shoving that happens at some of the shows, right? Because they get a little bit of a pit going on, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm a little too old for this. I'll just stand back here.
Yeah.
But they're just genuine people, man. They're just genuine, and I just love that about that. I got one here. If I were to look through your phone playlist or your computer playlist, am I going to find something
Or any like hard copy of
any
anything.
kind of music that you have? Would there be anything that would surprise us if we were looking? Like, I know I'm going to find some Judas Priest. I know I'm going to find some of that, right? I'm going to probably find some Metallica. I'm going to find the Raven Age. I know that. But what's something that would really knock us off our feet?
There's a couple things, I guess. I mean, one of them's not too surprising, but it's metal that's mixed with rap.
Okay.
So, and I really I love listening to rap in like a heavier context. So like From Ashes to New, for example, I think they're doing a great job. I Prevail. And also early 2000s pop, I'd say, is the other one that might surprise you.
Now, there's a surprise there.
Early 2000s pop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who?
I guess it's more pop punk. But like Avril type stuff.
Oh, cool.
Paramore.
Yeah.
Definitely love
some
that
of the
stuff.
Canadian guys too, like Sum 41 and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, I just recently started listening to them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. They're a good Canadian band. It's
voice.
yeah. Have you seen Metallica yet live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw them. That was the first concert I went to, actually.
Amazing.
I think it was 2016 or 17. It was right after Hardwired, whenever they put that out. We were in Toronto, so it was Volbeat, Avenged Sevenfold, and Metallica.
What?
So,
That's a great bill.
oh, it was awesome, yeah.
Wow. I saw them with
You had
Godsmack.
you had no
Oh,
choice.
nice.
Yeah, but I was there to see Godsmack. I like Metallica, but I love Godsmack.
It's interesting that you always do that. You're like, I went for Toto, not
Yeah,
for.
I'm always there for the bands that are opening as opposed to the ones that are.
Yeah, because you want to leave.
I wanna go home.
I'm out of here.
I'm tired.
Who opened for Metallica when I was there? I saw them here. It was long before that album. It'll come to me. The funny one that I saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth. But Earth, Wind, and Fire opened for
Yes,
them.
I know. My buddy Dan was at that.
Yeah. Of
that
all weirdest things of all time. Like, it's
Are you
like,
kidding me?
yeah.
That's awesome.
No, it was amazing. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I love Van Halen. So it was like, it's such a weird pairing, but still awesome. You know what I mean?
When was that?
Probably like 2015.
Oh, nice.
It's fun to do that, though. It's like it's fun to mix up the genres, right? Instead of just having it all being like one. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, all you Van Halen fans, Earth, Wind, and Fire. What the?
Well, I think it's because David Lee Roth's a huge Earth, Wind, and Fire fan.
Well, they're great funk and soul. Man. You know me, I love them.
Well,
too.
there was like 30 people on the stage.
I know,
playing.
right?
It was
It's a
one of the
production.
greatest productions I've ever seen. I mean, people were like not there watching, and I'm like, this is like Earth, Wind, and Fire, man. There was nobody bigger than them in the 70s, you know? I mean, there was, but they were big in the 70s.
They were huge.
Yeah.
It's really cool when there are like mixed genre bills like that. I saw Slipknot when they came last time, and Cypress Hill was opening for them, which is not something you would expect. It was a great show, like complemented very nicely.
Yeah,
Yikes.
it's fun that way, right?
I loved Cypress Hill back in the day.
Yeah, they were good back in the day, but they kind of just disappeared.
A lot of those hip hop groups did.
Yeah. Okay, now collaboration. If you could collaborate with anybody, like let's talk about just being on stage, and
Alive.
alive. Yeah, playing with somebody who's playing with a band or one individual other than Kirk Hammett. Yeah, I'm gonna take that away from you.
Okay. Well, I would say I Prevail for sure. I think I like their new album especially, and like the new live stuff that they've been doing is just crazy. It's so tight, and I love the genre combinations they're doing and how tight each one of them are.
Okay, now do you analyze it all? Are you a fan first, or are you a musician first going, oh, that's awesome, oh my God, or because I know for myself, I'm just like, oh, that's a great tune. Then I'll listen to the lyrics, oh my God, okay, and then, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So everybody listens differently. For
me, when it's live music, then I'll be super like analyzing everybody. Like as a musician, I'll be like, oh, okay, that was a nice like instance, a nice voice leading technique they did there or something. But then whenever I'm listening to music, just streaming or listening to it, I listen more from like, oh, that sounds cool. I like what they did there. Like,
it's good to do that though. You don't want to keep analyzing shit. You just drive yourself nuts.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
you're still like, even though you're a musician and you want to be a professional musician and you're going to learn, but you still want to enjoy the moment, right? Like I think that's important. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm very much a fan. I do watch, I love watching guitarists. Like when I saw Guns N' Roses, like when we went here at TD, and I watched Slash do an 11-minute solo, and you're like watching this guy, the energy and playing the Godfather and like switching it up. I just found that so interesting because they are showmen, right? Like so, even though there's really nobody, like he's in that top 10 for sure for me anyway. Who's in your top 5 guitarists of all time? That'd be a good one to ask you.
3 he asked for dinner. No.
Yeah. Well, they're all actually probably in there actually. I mean, Hammond's got to be in the top 10 too. He's excellent. He learned from like Joe Satriani and Yngwie, yeah.
Oh, really? Yngwie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Stevie Vai was part of that too. Yeah. Yeah, Yngwie was a big part of what Hammond comes from, to be honest. Like you should check that out. It's pretty cool.
I knew about Satriani, but I didn't know that about Yngwie. That's cool. Yngwie is in one of my top 10 as well for sure. He's I think I had been playing for 2 years and I heard like Far Beyond the Sun, and I bought the tabs, I printed out, and for like 3 months I just worked on only that song for like 5 to 8 hours a day until I got it. So
you got it now?
Well, I've forgotten it now, but I had it at the time, and I had it at the time though.
You could find it. You could find it again.
Yeah. How long would it take you to find it again, do you think? Because you've already got the memory work, right? The muscle memory of it, because you've done it a lot.
Yeah. If I did it now, I would probably do it a bit differently. Okay. So it might take me like a week or so, I'd say.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So who's your top 3? Say your top 3.
So besides the ones that I already said earlier, I'll make it new. Jason Becker, he's like incredible, and even what he's doing now is like incredible. Like writing music with his eyes is just inspirational, insane. Probably Mick Thompson from Slipknot.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's been a huge. That was like the first metal band I probably got really into, aside from Metallica, and then also I'd say Marty Friedman.
Nice.
It's really awesome.
Good choices. What about Rammstein?
I actually haven't heard a single Rammstein song.
Okay, well, it's funny. It's we went and saw them in the summer in Montreal, and it was the biggest spectacle I've ever seen.
Oh, me as well.
And I've been to a lot of concerts. But you walked in, like I remember telling Dawg, I'm like, I feel like I'm in Game of Thrones. Like, look at the size of that stage. And honestly, Rohan, it was like a castle built on a stage. It was like insane. It was the biggest stage I've ever seen. And then there's these like lineups of like huge fire shooting poles that are there. But you would be standing where we were standing. It was open to anybody. You could go right down or whatever. But we were standing far enough away. But you'd feel the heat from the fire shooting out of the thing from like hundreds of yards away.
Yeah, it made me jump.
With no joke.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And the music, I mean, I love Rammstein. So it was like obviously the Du Hast is one of their main tracks. You should probably listen to that one if you're going to listen to anything.
Actually, I think I have heard that one.
Yeah. Du Hast. But it's all German and people are singing it back to him, right? Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's just people are wacky for music, right? Like it changes them. I think when you play it, does it change? Like, does it change you? Does it like? Do you feel different when you're playing music, listening to music? Do you use it to put yourself in a better mood, to amp you up, to sort of calm you down? Would you say that you go to music for that?
Sometimes, yeah. And I'd say like whenever, like if I'm having a bad day or something, playing guitar and singing would definitely make me feel at least a little bit better. It's a, like you said earlier, it's like an outlet, right? So it's really great. Especially singing. There's something about singing that just makes you feel better, I find.
Really, eh?
But I also find the opposite is sometimes true. Like if I'm feeling something, like if something bad is going on, and I decide to play music, I find I'm more inspired to write music like about that topic. So that's why, like for example, the 4 songs that I've released under Resist the Throne, I mentioned that those are about mental health, and like during the pandemic when everyone was kind of going through those, it was so much easier to find inspiration and write about those. So I think it kind of goes both ways for me, half and half.
Makes sense.
Well, it does, because you're living through it, right? Like you're not writing about something you don't know. You're like right
Exactly.
in the moment. It must be tough for, like, I'm not picking on you because your age, but I mean, you don't have a lot of life experience to write, like you are, but like, it's 15, 16 years old. Your life experience is different than when you're 40.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I'm going through the same thing that you're going through, but we're not experiencing it the same way. Mm-hmm. Like Gus said, you're in high school, man. That must have been really tough.
Formidable. Like it's what you know now. That was a quarter of your life was the pandemic, right? So I think that you put that in perspective. Whereas Dawg and I come from an age where we didn't have phones and we didn't have, things like that. Like there was no real. There was like I remember we had SARS, and that was one thing but it came and went really fast, and it was just an interesting way to think of things. Like I did a lot of self-reflection, and like when you're wondering what am I doing that I need to do, and I left a job to start a different job, and then I started the podcast with Dawg, and we just sort of things you change your perspective, because we knew what it was like without having all of these items. So you kind of went back to nature, and you went back to like being a kid again, which is weird to say, but you're like, I was really enjoying being outside with no technology at all, right? And
that's awesome.
It's just I think that you kind of go back to where you're comfortable, and for me, that was always my comfort was like I have to be outside, So yeah. Anyways, I was a kind of roundabout way that I do that sometimes. I go on rants, but being your age, it was formidable, and all your friends were going through it, and it might have been scary for you as well. And like, it's just it's interesting how life is different for every age group, and seeing it from different perspectives. So appreciate you sharing that with us,
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like there's any, like we've been talking to a lot of different bands, and the pressure that people like us give you guys? Oh, you're going to put out an album? Are you gonna press that? You're going to get some vinyl? You're going to have some CDs? You're going to have some physical copies? Do you feel the pressure to do that? Or is streaming and just doing the singles and streaming it is good for you?
So, like, I'd say streaming is definitely the main priority for me, because I think that's how, like, as an artist now, I can make the most money doing streaming. That being said, though, I think like I love listening to like physical music, like CDs, cassettes. I still collect those. So Resist the Throne is actually doing like a CD release party, and what we're doing is before we release anything on streaming, we're just gonna put it all out on CD for like maybe half a year or something, or
there you go.
Just to have it on CD first, and target kind of that demographic first.
I like it.
So
Dawg will be buying one for sure.
Absolutely, put it in my CD player. I'm done. Well, just because this weekend I went out and got an album for James Leclerc, because in my heart I felt he needed this album for his Christmas collection, so I got it for him. But I also went to Vertigo Records, which is an amazing place to go if you're looking for vinyl, and I picked up a Rufus album. They're a '70s band with Shaka Khan.
Ooh,
and it's mint, baby. It's such a great album. Yeah, so I enjoy that. I open them up, you read the lyrics, you look at the pictures, right? As it's you lose a lot in the streaming.
It goes back to like, it brings me back to your youth, right? That's where you felt comfortable.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, cool. You got to remember your youth, man. That's all I'm going to say. But if you keep playing guitar, that is your youth, so you'll be fine. Playing guitar and singing and It'll be good. Look at us just giving him life lessons here, right? Like he needs it.
No, I appreciate it. It's great. Yeah.
People start calling you.
He's like, okay, can we end this now? You old farts. No, I just kidding. So you said you're introverted on the outside when you're not on stage, and then extroverted when you get on it. So explain that to me a little bit. Like, when you're writing and you're with your band, you become extroverted, and then when you're writing alone, you're introverted. So does that like change your lyrics? Like, does that make it? Do you find when your writing style is different when you're writing with and without?
So for lyrics, I actually only really write by myself. I haven't really done kind of a collaborative lyric writing process. But I guess what I mean more than that, like in music, I'm more extroverted for sure. Like when I go and teach music, for example, I'm definitely extroverted. When I'm with my band, I'm extroverted. But when I'm doing like day-to-day stuff, I'm more introverted. It's really weird because I'll have no issue going onto like a stage. I don't really get, well, I mean, I get a bit nervous beforehand, but I don't get super nervous. But when I'm standing in the line at a grocery store and I have to talk to somebody, I'm more nervous than I would be going on stage, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, in music, extroverted. Everything else, super introverted.
Interesting, eh? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I'm like I
the
talk to
polar
everybody. I talk to like the person at the cash, and I'm standing there holding up lines, and that's just me.
I don't suggest going to concerts with him because you lose him. Like I'm walking along, all of a sudden I look back. Where'd he go? He's back 20 feet talking to 40 people. I'm like, I'll see you at the seats.
Yeah, that's what Megan does too. Like it's funny because my partner Megan, she's definitely introverted but extroverted with her friends and stuff. But we'll go to like a sporting event or a concert. I remember we went to Justin Timberlake and we were in Montreal, and she's like only you would know like 4 people in Montreal that when you're going to a Justin Timberlake concert, because you're appeasing my musical styles. Although Justin put up a great show, but it was just so interesting to see how people react. But Megan's the same as Dawg, and they'll just keep walking, and I'm sort of sitting there going, chatting away. I don't know. It's just we're all different, right? That's the way it is.
Yes, sir.
Have you taken a trip like outside of Canada that has like resonated with you? Is there something that is there somewhere you went that you really enjoyed?
So I've only been out of Canada once. It was when I was like 9. So it was, I mean, I loved it at the time, but it was more just like, it was to Europe actually. So we went to London and Scotland for two or 3 weeks.
Nice.
And I know it was great. It was a great trip. I guess I didn't really have any like deep kind of like things that resonated with me at the time. But I like looking back on it, it's definitely like, I love that environment, and it's like somewhere like I mentioned earlier, somewhere that I might want to live in the future, in that kind of environment. But yeah,
to be a rock and roll guy living in a castle in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, there you go.
Rohan from Ottawa living in Edinburgh.
Do
you have Scottish and English background? Like, is it in you?
No. I have Indian background.
I figured there was some. It was India or maybe somewhere else, but I just wondered. Sometimes there's another. We're all melting pots of different things, right? So
I know for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So no, just all.
No, yeah. So my grandparents all immigrated. They were all part of that first wave of immigration, like in like the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, cool. Okay.
From India, different parts of India, and my dad was born here. My mom was born in India, but came like really recently after. So yeah.
Cool.
And how are they with this whole musical thing? They're on board. I know Mom dropped you off today, which shows that she's going to do something for her son. But I just like to know, like, are the parents behind you when you said, I want to be a musician?
They're super supportive. Yeah, they like right from like the first time when I said, okay, I want to play guitar, my parents were like, okay, and then they signed me up for lessons. They helped me. They got me my first guitar and everything, and they've been incredibly supportive.
Awesome.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, me too. I really do. Yeah.
I think it's part of that generation though. Like, your parents are probably not that much older than I am, so maybe I'm older. I don't know, but I think that I would be like incredibly supportive of whatever they wanted to do as long as they loved it. Whereas I remember sometimes approaching my folks with something and they'd be like, no, you're not really gonna do that. My mom would always support it, but then someone else wouldn't. So yeah, it's nice to hear. Nice to hear, man, that you're getting support, because that makes it a lot easier. You know, you're kind of relaxed about what you're doing. You're completely committed, and then you're not defying anybody. You know, which is great.
No, absolutely, and it makes it so much easier too. Like if I ever want to bounce ideas off of them or like ask for advice or help, they're always there. They've been to every Resist the Throne show as well, so it's I'm extremely lucky.
So when we go to the CD release party, your parents will be there.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Most excellent.
I'll be. We'll take a photo with them. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Gus will be schmoozing your parents for sure.
Yeah. Hey, what's
how
going
you
on?
doing?
Hey, you still in the house? No, I'm just kidding. So what's if you won $10 million tomorrow? What would you spend it on?
Okay, I would put.
You had an idea. All right, I like it.
So I would put 90% of it. I put $9 million between high interest savings accounts and like various forms of investing it to grow it, and then I would probably buy a piece of I don't know. I buy like a somewhat cheap house or something, and a really nice guitar. Maybe a new mic too.
Got your priorities, and maybe a new mic.
Yeah.
$1 million.
You got 10 schmil. You can afford a new mic, whatever mic you want. Nothing for your folks though. Eh? That's nice.
Hey, once I grow the money, then they can have some.
Just maybe you could buy your mom a new car to drive you in or something. You know.
That's true. That's true.
Come on, man.
That was just not very nice.
Fucking hilarious though.
Yeah, but it was funny, but not nice.
No, we're here to entertain.
Yeah, fair part, I guess.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy anything for your parents.
Yeah.
My God.
You left.
Yeah, he did.
And so did you.
I did laugh, actually. I'm a mean person that way, though. Oceans of Rage. It's you said that you mixed that yourself. Did you do all the instruments on it as well?
Yeah, I did. So I recorded all those. I still did like virtual drums. So Joel Lefebvre from Sevillin, actually.
Yes, Sevillin. I've seen them. They're awesome.
Yeah, no, amazing. So Joel was actually my singing teacher, and then over the pandemic, we turned the lessons into mixing lessons because I was getting more interested in those. So he actually helped me a lot with all the drums actually on the Resist the Throne tracks. As I mentioned, I'm not really a drummer. He helped me edit those and make them sound a bit more realistic. And so
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so he helped me a lot with the drums on those, but everything else I did like the mixing and the mastering for.
Now you're just doing this at home?
Yeah, I have at the time I was just doing it kind of in my bedroom, and now I've got like a home studio where I do that.
Nice. Very nice.
So yeah.
A home studio. Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Your parents are awesome, man.
They are.
Yeah. That's great. No, I love it. If you so when you're mixing something like that, when you bounce things off of someone like Joel, do you kind of, are you receptive to criticism, or are you kind of like, I'm just going to do it this way anyway?
No, I love hearing like, if there's something that he thinks I should change, then I love hearing like different things. I always send it to a few people as well. Like before everything is finalized, I'll always send my songs to like a few other musicians and get those criticisms.
Oh, good. Well, I think you should. I mean, being open-minded and open-eared is important.
Especially with bands that are a little more established too, right? And they're like, listen, man, well, how would you try this? Or you try this? Or you do this? And it's always like, I know that the bands that I've talked to, they love like to give their input. Like, man, that was solid. And even just if it's just positive, like instead of well, you could have done this, maybe you should have done that. It's just like the positivity that's being thrown out there. Man, I love that set. That was awesome.
It's true.
Like how much fun was the Overflow show with the Lionels and Taming Sorry? That must have been.
That was awesome. Yeah,
I kicked myself for missing the first two acts, but
you like the Lionels, eh?
Yeah. Oh man,
they're awesome.
Aren't they?
They're incredible.
Wow.
Robbie actually goes to Carleton as well. We're in the same. So we were in the same theory class last year, and he was like, he was mentioning that he was in a band, and then we were chatting, and then it turns out we were playing a show together.
Nice.
So it's cool. But yeah,
he can play. Wow.
Oh yeah.
But so I mean, I love that about this, and it's getting better and better. Like the bands are starting to support each other, pushing each other up, but challenging each other too, right? Mm-hmm. To be better and it's great, and we have a part of that in that too. You and I.
Do we?
No. I just felt like saying that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're trying to be.
Well, if
You
talk to
absolutely
Johnny-
do, yeah.
If you talk to Johnny McConnell from he believes that we're doing the right thing here, that we're helping.
You absolutely. Like from the perspective of an artist too, like it's really really awesome that you guys are doing what you do, and really appreciate it. For sure.
Well, we just love having people on to talk about music.
That's
It's a win-win.
That's exactly it, and also we want to provide a platform for you to explain where it comes from. Like, I think it's kind of neat. We always like to hear like the story of where that came from. So appreciate you telling your story. That's for sure.
And Ottawa definitely needs a push in the right direction, like for this, because we've got amazing talent coming out of this city, and people need to know.
We're doing it, man.
I know we're doing it,
promoting
and
it.
he's doing it, and he's doing his part, and we'll do our part.
We do our part, and he'll do his part.
You do your part.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so we asked this question. We realize your age. It's hard. It's hard for us to. No, I'm just kidding. 80s or 90s music.
Yeah, so I knew this was coming. So I'm gonna say 80s music.
Oh man.
But okay, like recently actually it's been 90s music. So like
it's all good, man.
but when I was like starting to play guitar, and like my biggest influences were definitely 80s. Like even like I know a lot of people don't like it, but I have a lot of influences from hair metal bands like Rat, Motley Crue and stuff.
Ooh, Jay would love you.
Jay would love you,
Vinyl
yeah.
Jay.
Yeah.
My Vinyl Addiction 45. He's the biggest Rat fan I've ever met.
Oh, really?
And my brother is a big fan too, but Jay is the biggest.
He's a big hair metal guy.
Yeah, he loves the hair metal for sure. So you just scored points with him.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I love hair metal, but yeah, like 80s music, 80s Metallica, 80s thrash, was definitely what got me into like metal in the first place. Master of Puppets was the song that made me want to play guitar.
What a start of that song, eh?
Yeah, that's a good choice for sure.
It's a great song. Yeah, it's awesome. I remember after I heard that song, I was like, okay, I need to play guitar. After I got a guitar, that was like the first song I just like tried to learn by ear and then by tab. But yeah,
So good.
Now I'm going back to this again, but where were you hearing this stuff?
that was so one of my friends from I was playing basketball at the time. Actually, one of my friends caught me listening to a Slipknot thing, and I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I was I was watching like a Slipknot video, mainly because I really like their videography, and I like the music too. But at the time, it was mainly for the videos. I thought it was really cool what they were doing. And then my friend comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, you're listening to Slipknot? They suck. You should listen to Metallica." So I was like, "Okay, I'll check out Metallica." And then he's like, "Listen to Master of Puppets." And so I listened to it that night, and I was like, "Okay." Next day, actually, I went to school. I was in grade 7 at the time, and so there was like a music class, and I just started playing on one of the guitars there, and yeah,
that's very cool. That's what I like to hear, is like how people get to where they like. How did you get to be a big hip fan, James, or how did I get to be a big April Wine fan? Like it's always fun to tell those stories, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, mine was because I didn't want to listen to the Bay City Rollers anymore.
Yeah, I think I organically, like, I was very much a Much Music kid, so like that was when they played videos on TV, just so you know, Rohan, shit. But no, but they, you kind of saw Canadian content because they have to in Canada, which is amazing. But then Tragically Hip would keep showing up, so I got that. But then I've mentioned this before, I listened to Dr. Dre's Chronic album, and right then I became a man. It was right after that one.
Again, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Metallica is better than Slipknot, by the way. I don't know why you even.
I mean, different subgenres.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare, in my opinion. I don't know.
Slipknot.
Stop it.
I don't know.
Open-minded.
Man.
Let's do it.
I don't know. No, they're very talented. It was never my bag.
No, that's fine.
That's fair.
And there's something out there for everyone. What is there a festival that you'd like to go play? Like, is there a lot of like rock festivals and stuff? Or is there one in particular? Like, man, I'd kill to be on that roster.
I'd say like the end goal is Wacken for sure. That's like I spend so much time just watching live videos of other bands playing there. I would love to be there at one point.
Wacken.
Yeah, I'd love to do, like, in terms of Canadian ones, Blues Fest.
Mm-hmm.
My old band did Blues Fest a couple of times, actually, as part of, like, a program.
Okay.
And it was, like, such a great experience to be able to play there. So I'd love to do that again.
Main stage.
That's the goal. Yeah, one day that would be
That's a good
amazing.
goal.
I like your lofty goals.
Yeah, I like it too. Because you'll get there.
Yeah, you've got ambition, which is amazing. The Blues Fest, I think, like we've said a couple times, but like I think that for an Ottawa person, like a person that's raised here, that's like the pinnacle. I would think for an artist in Ottawa, they're like, okay, well, we've all gone to Blues Fest, we've heard about Blues Fest. You know, obviously Folk Fest is amazing. There's other fests in Ottawa, but that's the pinnacle.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see Resist the Throne playing Jazz Fest though. It's just not a.
Well, they are. Maybe Slipknot will be playing there too.
Well, maybe they can open for some. Slipknot can open for Resist the Throne.
Oh, I like how you switched that one up real quick. Quick on your feet. So what's next for you? You're gonna finish this album up. You're gonna release singles as you go, or do you want to just kind of put out?
So we're doing the CD first before anything else, and that'll be So the show is going to be September 16th. So that's going to be, I think that'll be the first time where we'll have everything available just on CD. We're not going to put anything out on streaming platforms until partway through next year. There's still a couple of mistakes I made earlier on when setting up my like distribution that I want to make sure I fix so we can get the most royalties and stuff. And also I want to make sure that we have like a proper marketing plan where we can do like we're going to do singles because that seems to be, from what I've heard, that's the best way to kind of release everything now.
Yeah.
And like maximize, like, do videos for every song and like put a lot of effort promoting each song. So that's going to be over the course of next year. But yeah, this year is just going to be the CD.
Awesome.
Okay, and so September 16th?
Yeah.
Do we have a venue yet?
Cafe de Cuff, yeah.
Nice.
And Not My
place to do
Enemy is going to be playing as well.
Not My Enemy. A little familiar with those boys. That's awesome. So
Awesome.
September 16th, Cafe de Cuff with Not My Enemy.
CD release party.
CD release party.
It's like we're all going back in time.
Nice.
These youngins, man, they're
Yep.
figuring it
Bring
all
us
out.
back.
Yeah. Thanks, Rohan. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out here, and keep doing what you're doing, man. And we'll keep following along, and Dawg will see you everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll be at that show.
Yeah, I'd like to be there too. I'm gonna hopefully be around for sure.
We've got tickets and CDs for you guys, so
You're the man.
yeah.
Man.
We're there. It's a walk from my place, man.
Café des Coffres.
Café de Cuff.
C'est beau. Tu parles français?
Un peu, oui.
Oh.
Yeah, that's more than me.
Well, thank you very much, Rohan. Will you be good, man?
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.